Morning, Marcus. I hope you're well. We'll just give you a few minutes to set up. When you're ready, just let me know and I'll introduce you. I actually can't hear you. You seem to be, your mic's not working. No, nothing.
Pressing the on button sometimes works. Did that help?
Yes, thank you. All's perfect now. Yes, did you turn it off and on? That's the first question, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Off and on.
Have you tried turning it off and on?
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to start with, I'm just looking at my slideshow here. I'm going to start with a three-question poll. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just trying to decide whether or not to sit at a table to do this. A minute. One moment. I shall upload PDF now. Work out where. How do I do that? I uploaded a file last night. Oh, there we go. Ha! There we go. Upload presentation. Thank you very much. I have the bridge. Excellent. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Marcus. That was a very very quick coming in there. It's very early in the morning for Marcus, so maybe he hasn't had his cup of coffee yet. But just a little bit about Marcus. I know he's a software developer at St. John University in York. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
That's about all I know about Marcus. But it's fabulous to have you here, and we just really hope we just get a lot of things out from your session. It's over to you. We're recording now. Excellent.
Good morning or good evening or even good afternoon from York, Old York. As Teresa said, I'm from France. I'm a software developer. I have been for the last year and a half, but it might be more relevant to know that I spent 12 years teaching in the further education or tertiary sector. That's 16 to, oh, hello. I've been to North Carolina in 1983, Camp Blue Star. For 12 years, I taught 16 to 18-year-olds. So I'm familiar with the pressure teachers feel under when trying to get a hold of resources or creating resources. I taught, hello, Hong Kong. Oh, I went there a long time ago. The pressure people are under in order to create resources and the desire to get on with teaching rather than to learn new and potentially obscure technologies. My subject was anything to do with computers, but I'm quite interested in education. And one of the, I'm very interested in automatically graded quizzes. And one of the question types I found interesting was multiple gap questions, because you can test quite a lot of things in a single question there. And the example I'll be giving today is a very silly example of the cat sat on the mat, where the student has to guess that the missing word is cat and mat. And I discovered Moodle in 1983, and I was very excited because I'd spent a great deal of time writing my own quiz engines and writing a lot of multiple choice quizzes and things like that. And I was using a commercial virtual learning environment at the time, and I found Moodle brilliant. This has solved all my problems. Let's create some fill in the blanks questions. And that's when I came across the mixed blessing that is the closed question type. And I still find it I find it difficult to use. It's a bit like its own little macro or programming language. And to start off, you should see a poll there. If you can see it, just write something in the text to say, I can see the poll there. Go on, somebody. Go on. Ah, damn. I can say, that explains why nobody's answering it. Okay. Woo! Celine can see it. Woo! Dotted line. It should be 4 questions. If it's not, I'm just going to change it to being a yes/no question. It wasn't even bored yet. Okay, let me ask a new. Let me just try a new one. I'm going to ask a simple yes/no question. Oh, I see. There it is. Okay. Yes. We've had a no already. Hey, hang fire. Okay. My question is, can you create closed questions off the top of your head without error? Are you comfortable with creating Moodle closed questions? We've got a no already. I'll take that as a no. Oh, you got a 2. We got to do 50%. We've got a no. We got a no. We got a no. We've got a yes. Oh yeah, we're looking good here. We got a yes. We got a yes. We got a yes. Okay. Yep. Oh, we got a yes. Oh yeah. Cleverer than me, I think. Excellent. Oh, we got. That's interesting. Somebody said I always have to use a template, and I've been Moodling for over 10 years. Agreed. Yes. Okay. Okay. So it's not easy to use. It's not easy to use. Right, 5, 6, 7. That's probably everybody's answered that now, and I've also learned a bit about a big blue button polling. So I'll click the publish button now so that you can all see it, and I'll return to that. There you go. You can see the results of it. Okay, so Nobody can ever learn anything without a PowerPoint display. And here's that's interesting. I was just using a spreadsheet with concatenation functions. Okay. Just as an introduction, fill in the blanks questions are useful for most subjects. You can use them for anything. They're particularly good when teaching languages, not that I've done a huge amount of that. And I'm going to talk about what does Moodle offer, both in core and in plugins. And as I've just mentioned, the core closed question type is powerful. It is the most powerful, arguably most powerful question type of all, and most powerful fill in the blanks question. But it's really complex. Sarah, once you've seen what I'm showing you, you'll be able to create closed questions without using any assistance. I believe that most ordinary people, and my audience today, you're not ordinary people. You are really keen on this. Give up on it. It's too complex. And I've done statistics where I work, and I can see that a lot of people don't create closed questions. But the good thing is, the really good thing is, it's powerful, and it comes with core Moodle. Therefore, everybody who's got Moodle can create them. But there's about 2012, the Open University, the world's biggest online learning provider, came up with a suite of questions, and one of them is the OU drag and drop into text question type. It's not a very catchy name, really, and I've included the logo there. And it's much easier to use than core close, and it's widely used and well tested. It's been downloaded a shed load of times. It's from the Open University, and they really know what they're doing, and they extra know what they're doing because Tim Hunt, who's the Moodle question engine guru, is involved with it. He maintains it. But right at the moment, the very interesting thing is, as of version 3 of Moodle, which is, it should be out now, and actually I think it's been delayed just by a few days, it'll be in core Moodle, and that's one of the biggest change to questions availability in 10 years. So that's really quite exciting. Yeah, they're all right, these Open University people, but there's a really great guy on the block called Marcus Green, and I've created what you might consider an alternative or a rival to that. And although the OU question type is much easier to use than the closed question type that comes with core, mine's easier. Mine is really easy. There's something wrong there. It says it's from the OU. I should have corrected that. It's not. It's from me. It's all me. I read it myself. And the other thing is, it's got lots of features. Core close, endless features, really hard to use. Open University, limited features, easy to use. Mine, bucket loads of features. If you can't work out how to use my question type, you shouldn't be allowed sharp instruments. It really is, to get started, very easy. Oh dear me, I seem to have repeated slides here. Okay, so as I said, now I'm just going to describe a bit more about close. This is a bit teaching grandma to suck eggs here, because obviously you know about close, but it's got the most features. You can either have gaps or drop downs, and one of the interesting things, if you really want this, and pedagogically it's a really good thing, it's got a lot of extended feedback, and here's an example of it. As I said, the cat sat on the mat, and SA means short answer, and it shows up like that. Little tip here, if you ever have to create these things off the top of your head, where it says SA, that's case sensitive. Who thought that was a good idea? I don't know, but it's case sensitive. If you have a lowercase SA, it doesn't know it's a question type. But there you go, the very simple question example there. You can also do drop downs, and you can have distractors, in other words, wrong answers. MC stands for multiple choice, and you can see already we've got some more syntax. It's really big on syntax. It's the kind of thing that programmers love. Well, I'm a programmer, but I don't love it. Here we got an example of drop downs, closed with distractors, and these are quite nice, and it'll run on anything because it's HTML drop down, so it's in the one sense it's kind of accessible on all kinds of devices. But yeah, it's partly like it's 1999. It's not terribly the young folk who know what YouTube is won't be that excited by it. Anyway, but it's powerful. You can have different grades per blank and different feedback for different answers. It's really powerful, but I think I may mention it's Although it's not that complex, I keep forgetting it, and I've noticed that most people don't want to learn syntax. So, moving on. The Open University drag and drop into text. And here's the cat sat on the mat. With OU question type, you've got to remember double square braces. There's an online discussion where I propose, hey, single square braces, but no, we got, for my question type, double square braces. Okay, that's it. That will create a nice drag into the blanks question type. However, I still found it slightly confusing. You have to remember that the number means this is the correct answer from the list. And if you have a look there, and I'm going to play with this big blue button indicator thing here. So as you can see, it says choice 1, choice 2, choice 4. The correct answer, of course, is choice 2, which is Matt, and choice 1, which is cat. So it's wildly easier to learn than close, but I still found it slightly, there's a little thing to learn there. There's the bit. Okay. You can also use groups here. I'm not absolutely sure what the huge learning benefit is for most people here, but you can have groups. You see there that I've got that's supposed to be well, what does it mean? It's supposed to be the cat sat on the mat and the cow jumped over the moon. This is a rather silly example because there's no distractors. But over on the right here, I'm just going to draw on the screen. See, we've got groups 1 and we've got group 2 here. And if I've done my job, okay, and you've also got infinite, and I didn't know what that means. That just means reusable. That means you can drag when you drag one of the answers, it actually, it still stays there. Okay, here we go. This is what they look like in action. With groups, you can only drop into the matching group. So you can only drop cow and moon into the cow jumped over the moon, and you can only drop cat and mat into the cat sat on the mat. And of course, in a real example, you'd have some distractors like dog, hat, rug, sheep, Pluto, what have you. So that's what it looks like. And you can see there, that's the words cat, mat, and cow, moon. They can be dragged into the, which is nice. That's, as I say, it's drag and drop. It's apparently we're in the new millennium. Woohoo! Okay. Now, lovely those though are, I now want to talk about what I've written. Okay, and I call my question type the gap fill question. As I said, I decided I wanted it to be very, very easy to use. But I also wanted to have plenty, actually at the first I didn't want it to have plenty of features, I just wanted it just to be easy to use, just easy. And of course I wanted those any features to be useful to teachers. What's the point otherwise? And over time it's got new. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to memorize something for me because I want you to learn how to use my question type. And then I want you to download it and I want it to make you happy. So learning it, you need to learn this one. I'm not very good at this. 7-word sentence. And that 7-word sentence is put square braces around the missing words. Okay? That's once you've learned that, you know what you need to know. So here we go. The cat sits on the mat. I put square braces around cat, put square braces around mat. And then cat and mat become blanks. Now, I think the nice thing about this is that when you read the question text, you know what the right answer is. You don't have to look somewhere else and do any redirection. Straight away, you know what it's supposed to mean. Okay. Now, here's some of the alternative. There's quite a lot of settings to it. By default, it comes with drag drop. As I say, drag drop, that seems to, that's a modern approach. You can just, there's Simples, there's an advert in the UK. Simples. By default, it's drag drop because I think drag drop's nice, it's pretty. However, I was contacted by somebody who's using this teaching in Barcelona a while ago, and they say what they did, and it's interesting how sometimes people take your tools that you've built and use them in ways that you didn't anticipate. What they do is they create a bunch of questions, and then they make a copy of them. And the first lot have got the drag drops with the clues, and the second lot are pure gap fill. In other words, the first lot are really easy because you've got the potential answers there, and the second lot just have gaps, which I thought was rather neat. But by default, it goes to drag drop, and as you can see there, the cat sat on the mat, and you've got those answers. And I don't claim this is because I'm clever, but I like the way I've got little shadows there. It was really somebody else's code, some freely available code, but I kind of like the way the shadows work. So you can drag those, any of those words, into the gaps to answer them. You can have drop downs as well. I think most people wouldn't use this, but it's there if you like it. And you can see that all of the potential answers are in each one of the drop downs there. And you can have traditional gap fill no prompts. In other words, as you can see at the top of the screen there, it's just a blank, and you type into it. There are no clues there. Okay, a few details here. Assuming you got some kind of clues like the drop downs or the drag drop, for each student in each exam question, they're shuffled. Okay, they're always shuffled. It's coded to work with mobile. In fact, I was the other night, just to be certain, I tested on Android and an iPad, but a chap in the forums has tested it with an amazing array of mobile devices, and it works well. No credit to me. It's using the library that makes drag drop in JavaScript work with mobile. And also, it's accessible in the sense that if your drag drop didn't work, you can just type into the boxes. And in fact, the drag drop is just a convenience. It's just if you can type into a web form, you can answer these questions, which I do think is important. Right. Now I'm going to get down to the details. Okay. Actually, I should stop here just for a moment because I'm in love with the sound of my own voice. Has anybody got any questions? No, good. It's brilliant. I'm talking sense. Thank you very much. Okay. It was. Well, yeah. Why wasn't it done in 2002? That's the design goal. It's easy. I presented this 2 years ago at the Moodle Moot, and it got a good reception. I think it may have got a good reception because I was fairly hysterical about my presentation as well, and I've put it into 6 minutes. If you can't tell the story in 6 minutes, okay. So that's the basics of it. Put square braces around the missing words, and I'm very, very happy if for a lot of teachers that's all they ever learn. That's great. But there's quite a few features, and one of those is you can have a gap with multiple acceptable answers. And the example I'm giving here is really silly. It's you've got a gap where an acceptable answer is cat or dog. Okay. And to do this, you use that. Now, I was a bit reluctant to do this because this is adding syntax, but it's just one little piece of syntax, and that is the broken bar operator. So where it says the cat bar dog, that means that field can accept cat or dog. You could have it answered, say, cat, dog, mouse, rat, anything you like, but you can have multiple correct answers for a box. Another nice little feature, which I haven't seen else very much, is you get automatic correct answers in the feedback. So if you get a question wrong, it'll show you what the correct answer is. But the feedback will appear right next to where the blank was. Most question types that approach this will put it down below. So I think it's not as obvious. The idea is that it'll give you a little red cross and then puts, say you entered monkey instead of cat, it'll put it right next to it so that it actually associates the correct answer with where the gap is supposed to be. Okay. So that's not too big a jump in terms of complexity. But now this is getting a bit complex. The ability to have categories, and I'll explain what that is in a second. There's going to be a picture. The ability to have marks for blank gaps, and a very subtle one, which is ignore duplicates. Okay, now marks for blank gaps means some teachers might think this is going to be a bit sneaky and you shouldn't do it. But I'd like, oh, my phone's just gone bing bong. And I've got no friends, so that's quite exciting because I'm a programmer. I don't want to get a bit of feedback in the discussion here. I'll explain the concept, and you put in a yes if you can imagine that you might ever use this. Can you imagine ever wanting to set up a quiz question where you've got a sequence of gaps? The student has a sequence of things they can drag in the gaps, but one of the gaps has no correct answer. In other words, in order to get the mark, you got to leave it blank. Now, if you can just say yes if you think you might ever use that, or no if you think that's just too sneaky by half. Go on. I'm just going to step forward a little bit to illustrate what I mean. Here we go. Have a look at that there. So we are looking for an example of canine, feline, and bovine. And the possible options you have are cat, dog, and mouse. So there isn't a bovine. Is this a concept too far? Is it mid-afternoon where you are? Yeah, sneaky. That's sneaky, isn't it? It's not. I try to concentrate on the basic stuff, and this was. I added this. Yeah, people might want to use it. People might not want to use it, but I think it's an interesting idea. Okay, so I'm going to go to something far more straightforward, which is what I call tables with categories. This is not sneaky or tricky. I think categorizing concepts is a useful thing to be able to do in a question type. So, and this is slightly more tricky, not because of the concepts of what you have to do, but you've got to create an HTML table. And you can see here that, and I'm going to show you the HTML in a second, and I'll talk about getting example questions out for this. You've got two columns, one's for feline, one's for canine, and obviously you've got to drag lion and tiger into the one column and dog and wolf into the other column. I think that's potentially really quite useful. And the principle of that, if I can go forward a little bit, you can see here, that's the HTML. Whoa, it's a bit complex. But one of the things that I think is lovely about my question type is it comes with an XML file of 20 example questions with full explanation. And so you could take something like that and just modify it using the template. Okay, now the concept. This came up online only yesterday, actually. So it's only a trickle, but it's the question is, what are the colours of the Olympic medals? And the answer, of course, is gold, silver, and bronze. But what you probably want is that you want the student to be able to type any answer into any box, but to only get credit for each individual one correct answer. So you can see here we've got a student that's a bit too clever for their own trousers, and they know it's gold and silver, but they've forgotten about bronze. And so they've typed in gold, silver, silver in the hope of getting 3 marks. And if you look at the ticks, you'll see at first glance it looks like they've got 3 marks because they've answered 3 answers correctly. But you can also, well, you may not be able to see. Oh, this is my chance to use the zoom feature. Let's see if I can use the zoom feature. Woohoo! Oh dear me, doesn't work that well. No, I'm just trying to zoom in on a bit of it. Let's have a look. I'm just looking for a magnifying glass or similar here. No, I can't find it. Anyway, I'll read the text because I think the text is very washed out at the bottom. It says, your answer is partially correct. Credit is partial because you have duplicate answers. The number of correctly filled in gaps, 3, which is true. Have another go. And depending on the way you set it up, this would have given you only 2 marks. So again, it's a slightly marginal scenario, but potentially useful. And somebody did ask online in the discussion forums about that kind of capability. So I've done that one. That's blank gaps. Okay. Is that really the end? That was so exciting. Has anybody got any questions? Somebody say, I can hear you, Marcus, because it feels like I'm... Woohoo! Oh. Good, that's excellent. Okay. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can initiate desktop sharing so I can, which worked last night, so why wouldn't it work now? So I can... Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll kick off screen sharing, which I think, and then I'll show it. Yes, it is available. It's been downloaded. That's a good question. It's been downloaded just under 40,000 times. I give good support, me. Oh, yeah. And you can see in the discussion forum, it's regularly updated. So it's available for Moodle 3 now. In fact, I've been testing it on Moodle 3 since Moodle 3 was in alpha. So it's been, I think it first came out in 2012. I have a development path. I've got some ideas for other things I'd like to do for it. I'm just going to see if I can share my desktop. Oh, I've got to allow. I don't want it to be blocking me. Oh, yeah. Allow now. There we go. I'm rather hoping. Yes, I do. I'm just running the glory that is Java. Oh, run for me, Java. Can you see my desktop? I'm just logging into an instance of Moodle on my local machine here. And as per whenever you've got an audience, you forget your password. It's one of those golden rules, golden rules, golden rules. Oh, perhaps I didn't that time. Okay, so you can see what I can see. Okay. I've just been playing with Generico filter. I want to go back on that because I'm quite excited by it. Okay. Gap fill questions. It comes with 20 questions. Okay. And I've been developing these over quite a long time to try to illustrate. Come on, where's my 20 questions? Why don't you show me my 20 questions? I know I've got an audience. Come along, come along. How very annoying. Probably something to do with using a beta of Moodle 3. Oh, okay, I'm just going to create one off the top of my head to illustrate my clearness of use. Here we go. So you can see, because I haven't really shown the interface to it. My favorite question of all, cat's mat, and the cat sat on the mat. Okay. I'll scroll down to some of the, oh yeah, we want some distractors. Dog, comma, rug, comma, bat, comma, hat. Okay. Now this is where it's slightly interesting in the more options fields. Here's some of the things that we can do with it. Okay. If you're teaching hardcore maths, let me just check somebody's. That's the one, yeah. That's me, yeah. If you're teaching sums or science, there may be a reason why you don't want to use the square braces because it's got special symbolism. You can use other symbols in there. In fact, in the settings, you can set symbols apart from the ones you can see there. Okay. As I mentioned previously, you can choose between drag, drop, gap, fill, drop down. By default, we've got regular expressions enabled. If this is aimed at JQ, normal person, that's probably irrelevant. This is fixed gap size that's kind of useful because by default, a student might be able to guess which is the correct answer because the size of the gap will match the answer that can be dragged in there. So each gap will have a different size. If you put that in there, the gap size will be the size of the biggest gap. And the reason that's an option and not a default is sometimes you might not want to do that. Okay. And down here we've got, excuse me, I'm going to cough away from the microphone. And also we've got case sensitive. I didn't know when I built this, but there are some languages, I believe German, where case sensitivity is a really big deal. For most people, most of the time, they probably want it to be insensitive, like what I am. I'm just clicking on save changes here, and it's not responding to me, and I don't know why. Oh, waiting for localhost. The sweetest. Oh, this is the development version. Okay. Now, as I was saying, it comes with 20 examples. You can see here, I'll show to you if it would refresh it, but it won't because I'm using beta soft. Oh, there we go. I'm using beta software. Here we go. And these are all the different examples. So here we've got alternative delimiters, and that means different sorts of braces. Case sensitivity, blanks, which I've mentioned. I've got an example where I'm using math symbols, fixed gap size for people in the codes. I realised that the example here is completely stupid and wrong. But you can see here what to say is the kangaroo, which is a long word, is a native of Australia, and then it was supposed to say the kiwi, which is a short word, is a native of New Zealand. I suppose new works there as well. Okay, and the idea is that it doesn't give you clues by the length of the word. Okay. Headset. I love it. I spent 7 years of mine in Australia and visited New Zealand quite a lot. So, and I very, very saw it. Other scripts and accents. This came out of, I discovered that PHP has some not very good international string handling. So that example there, if you can read it, it says, Moscow is the capital of Russia, and the French word for garçon has an accent on the letter C. And I've got Russia there in Cyrillic, and I've got the accent on the C there. This is really just to demonstrate that it will handle non-ASCII characters. My great disappointment with PHP. Here, this is really getting into the nitty-gritty. What are the colours of the French flag? I just want to illustrate that you can use answers with commas in them there. Most people, most of the time, won't want to do that, but if you want to do it. So it comes with 20 questions, but in my experience, I'm really interested in people who teach rather than want to learn all about Moodle. Lovely their Moodle is. And my current development, this is giving you a peek into the future. I wanted to make it easy for people to import the example question. Now, it's not that hard, but wouldn't it be easier if it was actually built into the question type? This is something I think that every question type should have. It should come with example questions. If you've ever, and basically what you do is you just choose the course to import it into and import it. So that's the kind of stuff I'm playing with there. With reference to visiting Australia and New Zealand, sadly, my partner has told me that she's only willing to go again if she goes business class. So we won't be going before the end of this year. Okay. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? I've been talking for 38 minutes. Anybody got any questions? Hello, Teresa. I met Teresa at the Moodle Moot in Ireland this year. Okay. I've just remembered something really. This is really good. This is really nice. I've got to tell you about this. This is why would I forget? So much time recently. Working on this, I'm mad that I forget it. If you have ever heard about there's an import filter called GIFT, and when I first heard about it, the Moodle GIFT import filter, I thought, what's the point of that? I just don't understand it. And then I had a real moment, and I really saw what it was all about. So let me just show you okay. So the other GIFT, or my understanding of the idea of import filter, is when you create a question in Moodle through the interface, there's a lot of click, wait. And if you want to create a batch of 20 questions, that's quite frustrating. And it would be really quite useful if you could create a simple text file and just import the whole thing, particularly if you wanted lots of little variations on the question type. And so for core Moodle questions, we've got this GIFT import, and you can create lots of variations. So recently I thought, oh, that'd be nice to have this, something similar for my own question type. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like. Come on. No. In the words of Joni Mitchell, don't it always know? Don't it always seem to go? Where are you? Oh, come on. I've got an idea. Why don't I look up the documentation? Documentation for free software. What an unlikely scenario. Here we go. GitHub. This isn't released yet, so well, I mean, it's available on GitHub, but it's not in the plugin database. So you can see there have been that's the gap fill question type. It's The most recent version is 1. So I've had that's 8 versions since 2012. So I've been busy. There's some There's some documentation there, over there. Where are you? Repository. Here we go. Gapfill quick. Let's go to the wiki. Okay, here we go. Here we have an example of the kind of text that you would use for this. And I'm going to copy that and put that into Notepad, partly because it's easy to zoom in Notepad. Oh yeah. Let me zoom. Control num plus. You can do things like control. No, I don't know how to do that. I need a traditional mouse in order to do that. Control num plus. Control num. Okay, I think you can see that. As you can see there, it says we've got a name for the question, question 1. We've got a gap, cat sat on the mat, and then I've got a tilde, open square braces, hat, fat, bat, rat, and those are all the distractors in there. So this breaks my golden rule of no syntax, but it does allow you could take a file containing questions and just tweak them to create different permutations. Now my flash clock on my computer here says it's about 43 minutes past, and you probably heard enough from me about my gap fill question type. Oh, it's to be fill in the blanks, not all about my lovely question type. Who here has used the OU question type? Oh, just 3 minutes for questions. Okay. Okay. Anybody ask any questions? I'm just going to show you something really that's about in the new. This is not to do with gap fill. It's to do with a completely different question type. In Moodle 3, there's going to be a question type called DD marker. Okay. And it's powerful and fabulous, but rock hard to use. It allows you to define areas on a canvas where people can drag things in. This is DD marker question type, and you can see here, and all you've got to do in order to use this question type is say you want an odd little shape there. All you've got to do is just key in the coordinates, and I've got an example here for Raspberry of 348:3, 3:298:99:396, 100. It's the kind of stuff we can all do off the top of our heads, can't we? There's no problem. Or if you've got Marcus's cunning version of this, you can, rather than simply type that box, you can just do little dots on the screen there, and it will key it into the box for you. But that's secret. Don't tell anybody else that I've done that. Anyway, anybody got any questions? Anybody got any advice on using Big Blue Button? Were you able to were you able to see that thing I just did with the DD marker? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time and attention. As I say, I support my software. If you try using it, I will answer questions. Oh, somebody's talking. Somebody's.
Oh, it's me. Sorry, I've got
No
1,000 things playing in the background. I just before people started disappearing off maybe to another session. Thank you so much, Marcus. That was really interesting. It just kept us all really involved and really took us on the journey of what you were trying to teach us and things like that. It was great. We're all able to keep up. Just thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
For those participants, don't forget we can still go into the forums and we can still continue our conversations in there, so don't forget that. But just thank you so much at this time, and you're welcome to stay in the room for a little bit longer and have a bit of a chat, but I've got to disappear. Okay. So
no worries.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. My pleasure, Celine. Oh, thank you. I won't try to get your name, Uli. Where are you from? Anybody? Oh, actually, just before I go, because I'm going to have my. That's interesting. Let me explain in more detail, because I did that very, very quickly. In the Open University question types are getting into Moodle Core, which is a good thing because they've got a lot of functionality, and yeah, it was, yeah, because it's not really my question type, but in Moodle 3, which is due out any day now, we've got at least four new question types from the Open University, including a fill-in-the-blanks one. But I was talking about something else, not a fill-in-the-blanks question, but the kind of question type where, in fact, if you've got a second, I'll just fire it up so you can see what the question type looks like. My work with this reflects my constant desire to try to make Moodle easy for teachers. This is what I'm about to show you. It's not in Core. It's not in the Moodle's plugin database. What I've been trying to do is to persuade the man who does the question, Tim, to incorporate my code, but I haven't persuaded him yet. But that doesn't mean okay, the question looks like it's called DDMAR from the Open University. And the way it works is you have an image, you've got a background image there. And the idea is that you define shapes on that image and then you drag labels in. And so effectively, you define hotspots, okay? So you will have defined which is the raspberry and which is the strawberry. And the way the question type works is, in order to do that, you have to put in the coordinates when you edit of where the hotspots are. And the way you enter the coordinates, you can have two sorts of coordinates. You can have either a square or a circle or a polygon. And I think, can you see there that we've got the squares there? And let me just check if that's a yes. Okay, that's good. Okay, but the way you define them requires, and now you can see there we've got a rectangle, and I'm just looking at it says drop zone 1 rectangle, and the way you define it is it says 137,194, which is the top left, and it says 137, which is the width, and 136 which is the height. Okay, now as Tim, the author of the question type, said to me on one occasion, it's not that hard, is it? And in some sense, it's not, except I forget how to do it all the time. And what I've done, I've written some code, and if what you're looking at the moment is code that's been updated to work with the Moodle 3 version. I've written some code that says you just, rather than key in the coordinates, you just, oh, I've done that rather badly. A minute. Let me do it again. Welcome to Beta Code. Click, click, click. Come on, light my fire. It might be broken right at the moment. I'm going to change the one of the values in there and see if it updates it. But my point here is that I've been writing code, it's experimental, that will allow you to define the areas on the DD marker. No, it's not. This is very experimental. If you look it up, there's a video in action online, and you can download code for it. The code that I've got online does work, unlike it. Oh, okay, no worries. Okay, so I've got to go to work actually. Thank you very much for your attention. Yes, it is on GitHub. You'll find it on there. It's a fork of the original stuff. That one does work, but I'm working on a slight update. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you much for your time. I'm going to press the stop record button, and I shall be back this evening to watch some of the other presentations. Okay, bye-bye for now, everybody. Thank you for your attention.